History is a graveyard. We like to think of it as a monument, a collection of marble statues and golden aquilers that celebrate the heroes of the Imperium. But for every hero who is remembered, for every saint who is canonized, there are a billion souls who are simply erased. They are the mortar in the walls of the palace. They are the fuel in the engines of the crusade. They are the acceptable losses in the ledger of the Departamento Munitorum. Nowhere is this more true than in the records of the Siege of Vraks. To the casual student of history, Vraks was a victory, a grueling 18-year-long slog to reclaim a cardinal world from the grip of heresy, culminating in the glorious intervention of the Grey Knights and the purging of the demonic. But if you dig deeper, past the hagiographies of the Inquisitor Lord Hector Rex and the strategic brilliance of the Space Marines, you find the mud. You find the 14 million guardsmen of the Death Korps of Krieg who marched into the meat grinder. You find a war not of strategy, but of industrial slaughter. I have spent the last standard month in the sub-archives of the 88th Siege Army, sifting through data slates that have not been activated in 200 years. Most are corrupted by the scrap code of the enemy or simply the rot of time. There are lists of logistics, tonnage of shells fired, liters of promethium burned, body counts estimated in the thousands per hour. But yesterday, I found something else. It was a single fragmentation-scarred Vox recorder, recovered from the mud of Sector 50-45. It was logged simply as Evidence Item 774-Gamma, attached to a disciplinary record for a regiment that no longer exists, the 158th Siege Regiment. The official record states that the 158th was a failure. It claims they broke under fire, that their discipline collapsed, and that they were disbanded in disgrace. But the record tells a different story. It is a first-hand account from the front lines of the Van Miersland wastes, recorded in the final minutes of an assault that was never meant to succeed. It captures a moment that the Imperium would prefer to forget, a moment where the cold, hard logic of the Death Korps, the cult of sacrifice, collided with a horror so absolute that it should have shattered them. Instead, it forged them into something else, something terrifying. This is not a story of victory. It is a story of a unit that was already dead, deciding how they would spend their final breath. It is the story of the day the dead men marched.
The mud in Sector 5045 does not smell of earth. It smells of sulfur, ancient propellant, and the sweet copper rot of the unburied. It is a gray paste that clings to everything. It coats the lasgun in my hands. It weighs down the hem of my greatcoat, and it sucks at my boots with every step, as if the planet itself is trying to drag us down into the grave before our time. We have been in the forward saps for 3 rotations, or perhaps 4. The smog that chokes the Van Miersland wastes has blotted out the sun for so long that time has become an abstraction. There is only the firing cycle, the maintenance cycle, and the waiting. Always the waiting. I look down the line of my squad. 10 men, 10 masks, 10 pairs of lenses reflecting the dull, monochromatic gloom of Vraks. They are motionless. To an outsider, a Cadian or a Catachan, they might look like statues or corpses propped up against the revetment. But I know better. They are conserving oxygen. They are slowing their hearts. They are preparing their souls for the transaction. Trooper 77 Delta is polishing his bayonet. He does it rhythmically, a slow scraping sound that cuts under the thunder of the Basilisk batteries firing from the rear lines. Scrape, scrape, scrape. He is removing a spot of rust. It is a futile gesture. The air here is so acidic that metal corrodes within hours of exposure. But the regulation states that war gear must be maintained. The war gear belongs to the Emperor. We are merely its custodians. If we die, the gear must be fit for the next hand that grasps it. Watchmaster. The Vox beat in my ear crackles. It is the lieutenant. His voice is devoid of fear, devoid of excitement. It is simply data. Shower is confirmed. Preparation bombardment ceases in -10. We are the second wave. Objective is the enemy trench line designated Alpha Mortis. Distance, 400 meters. Advance on the whistle. Acknowledged, I reply. My voice sounds strange in my own ears. Flat and tinny, stripped of humanity by the mask. 400 meters. In a standard engagement covering 400 meters is a tactical maneuver. Here in the meat grinder of Vraks, it is a mathematical equation of attrition. The enemy, the traitor militia and their Astartes masters, have had years to sight their heavy bolters. They have mapped every crater, every hummock of mud. They know the kill zones better than they know the lines of their own palms. To cross 400 meters of no man's land is to walk into a wall of shrapnel. The Munitorum logic engines calculate that for every meter of ground gained, we will expend 3.5 guardsmen. To take the trench, the 158th Regiment must lose 70% of its strength. It is a fair trade. I turn to my squad. I do not give a speech. Krieg soldiers do not need speeches. We do not need to be told that we are brave or that we are heroes. We know what we are. We are the debt. We are the currency of atonement. Fix bayonets, I say. The sound is a unified metallic clack. 10 blades slide onto 10 lasgun lugs. The steel is cold and dull, pitted by the corrosive atmosphere. The bombardment lifts. The sudden silence is more violent than the noise. It is a physical void that sucks the air from the trench. For a heartbeat, there is nothing but the whistle of the toxic wind and the wet thloop of mud settling. Then, the whistle blows. It is a thin, high shrieking sound like a bird of prey. Advance, I order, for Krieg, for the Emperor. We go over the top. We do not run. Running is undisciplined. Running wastes oxygen. We walk. We advance in perfect parade ground order. A gray wall of greatcoats and gas masks moving into the smog. The enemy response is instantaneous. The air, which was gray, turns white. The wall of shrapnel is not a metaphor. It is a physical barrier of hot, jagged metal. I see Trooper 77 Delta simply disintegrate. One moment he is walking, his bayonet leveled. The next, a mortar shell lands directly at his feet. There is a pink mist, a spray of wet earth, and he is gone. The man behind him, Trooper 89 Gamma, steps into the crater where 77 Delta used to be. He does not break stride. He does not look down. He advances. The last fire begins. It snaps past us, angry red hornets swarming in the gloom. I feel a tug on my greatcoat as a round burns through the heavy wool. It misses the flesh. Irrelevant. We are at 300 meters. The line is thinning. Gaps appear in the ranks, instantly filled by the men behind. We are walking over the bodies of the first wave, the 143rd, who attacked an hour ago. Their corpses are already sinking into the quagmire, stepping stones of meat and ceramite. I step on the chest of a dead corpsman. I feel the ribs give way under my boot. I do not look at his mask. It is the same as mine.
200 meters. The enemy is visible now. Dark shapes moving in the haze of their own trench lines. Traitor militia. Heretics who have turned their backs on the light. They are screaming, shouting orders, firing wildly. They are afraid.
We are not afraid. We are inevitable. Suppressing fire, I bark. My squad raises their lasguns. We fire from the hip, a disciplined volley that forces the traitors to duck their heads. We do not stop walking. We fire, cycle, walk, fire, cycle, walk. The rhythm of the advance is hypnotic. It is the heartbeat of the Death Korps. And then, the world changes color. It starts on the horizon behind the enemy lines. A strange light, sickly and verdant, stains the smog. It is not the flash of artillery. It is a blooming, spreading stain, like ink in water. Chemical warning, the Vox bead chirps. Unknown agent. Threat level. Extremis. We do not stop. We are Krieg. We are born in radiation. We are weaned on toxins. Our gear is designed for this. Our masks are the best in the Imperium. We march on. But this is not standard gas. It rolls toward us, a thickening, bilious cloud that moves with a terrifying, heavy purpose. It hugs the ground, tumbling into the shell holes, filling the craters like a rising tide of green water. It does not dissipate. It accumulates. It hits the front rank of the 158th. I expect to see them emerge from the fog, perhaps obscured but advancing. Instead, I see them dissolve. The gas hits Trooper 89 Gamma, 10 meters to my right. He is engulfed in the green haze. I hear a sound that I have never heard before. It is not a scream. It is a wet, gurgling choke. It is the sound of a lung turning into liquid. He drops his laser gun. He claws at his throat. He falls to his knees, convulsing. And then, I see the blood. It is not coming from a wound. It is erupting from his mask. Pink froth sprays from the exhaust valve of his respirator. It bubbles out from under the seals of his neck. Seal integrity failure, I shout, my hand flying to my own regulator. Check masks. But it is too late. The cloud washes over us. The first sensation is not smell, but taste. It tastes of copper and burning rubber. It tastes of death. The gas is eating the mask. I can feel the rubber of the facepiece growing hot, becoming tacky and soft against my skin. The lenses of my eyes begin to fog, not with condensation, but with a yellow, etching frost. The glass is dissolving. The agent is TP3. I know it from the whispers of the quartermasters. Trimethylene phthaloxic tertius. An ancient proscribed terror from the Dark Age. It strips the electrons from the molecules of the seals. It turns rubber to slime and cloth to ash. I take a breath, and it feels like I have inhaled a mouthful of broken glass and boiling vinegar. My lungs spasm. A cough tears its way out of my chest, violent and wet. I taste blood. My own blood. The lining of my throat is sloughing off. I look at my squad. They are dying. They are all dying. Trooper 42 Alpha has ripped his mask off in a panic, a fatal error. His face is melting. The skin is sliding off the bone like wet wax. His eyes are gone, dissolved into red tears that run down his cheeks. He is screaming, but the scream is a bubbly, drowning gargle. I look down at my own hands. The leather of my gloves is blistering. The wool of my greatcoat is smoking, turning black and brittle where the gas touches it. We are dissolving. We are melting. We are dead men. The advance has stopped. The 158th is reeling. Men are falling by the hundreds, drowning in their own fluids. The monochromatic gloom has become a green hell. I fall to one knee. The pain is absolute. It is a fire that consumes the chest, the eyes, the skin. My vision is tunneling, the green fog turning to gray static. This is it. This is the end. I have failed. I have not reached the enemy. I have not paid the debt. Retreat. The thought flickers in my mind, a traitorous spark. Fall back to the triage lines. But then I hear it. A sound through the bubbling roar of the blood in my ears. It is a click, the click of a bolt racking. I look up. To my left, a soldier, Trooper 99 Zeta, is standing. His mask is half melted, hanging from his face in strips of burning rubber. His jawbone is exposed, the flesh stripped away by the acid. He is vomiting blood and lung tissue onto his own chest. But he is standing. He lifts his laser gun. His hands are raw, bleeding meat, the gloves gone. But he holds the weapon steady. He aims into the green fog, towards the enemy trenches. He does not scream. He cannot scream. He has no lungs left to scream with. He simply starts walking. He walks into the gas. He walks towards the enemy who killed him. And in that moment, the pain does not vanish, but it becomes irrelevant. The logic of the Munitorum breaks. The survival instinct dies. I am Krieg. I am not a man. I am a weapon. And a weapon does not stop until it is broken. I force my legs to straighten. The joints scream. The muscles are liquefying. But I stand. I look around. Others are rising. Ghosts in melting coats. Skeletons in gas masks. The dead are standing up. I raise my chainsword. It is pitted and smoking. The metal corroding. I cannot shout the order. I cannot speak. I simply point the blade at the enemy, and the 158th Siege Regiment, the Regiment of the Dead, begins to charge. The fog is not just blinding. It is heavy. It pushes against us like a physical tide. We are wading through the atmosphere of a dead world. My eyes are gone. The lenses of my mask, shattered moments ago, eaten by the gas. My vision is a blur of red and gray shadows. I cannot see the enemy, but I can hear them. They are close. I hear their laughter turn to confusion. I hear the confusion turn to screaming. To them, we must look like demons. We are coated in our own blood. Our coats are tattered rags, smoking in the chemical wind. We are spitting pieces of our own lungs onto the mud with every step. By all the laws of biology, by all the logic of the traitor's god, we should be corpses. But we are walking. We reach the enemy trench line. It is protected by razor wire. Normally we would wait for the sappers. We would wait for the wire cutters. There is no time. I step onto the wire. The barbs tear through my boots. They shred the skin of my shins. I do not feel it. The acid has burned away the nerves in my legs. I am a bridge. Trooper 99 Zeta steps on my back. He vaults the wire. Then Trooper 42 Alpha. They use me as a stepping stone. It is efficient. I pull myself free. The wire rips strips of flesh from my calves. I stumble into the trench. Contact. A traitor militiaman is standing directly in front of me. He wears a heavy flak vest and a rebreather that looks like a snout. He is armed with a heavy stubber. He stares at me. He does not fire. He is paralyzed. He is looking at my face, at the ruin where my mask used to be, at the raw, red skull beneath the melting skin. Emperor's mercy, he whispers. It is the last thing he says. I drive my bayonet into his gut. The blade grates on his ribcage. He screams, a wet, bubbling sound that sprays saliva onto my exposed face. I twist the blade. Clack. I pull the trigger. The laser gun discharges point blank into his abdomen. He folds. I shove him aside. I step over him. Clear the trench. I try to shout, but no words come out. Only a spray of blood. It doesn't matter. The squad knows the drill. The trench is a slaughterhouse. The chemical cloud has settled here thick and soupy. The renegades are panicking. Their morale, fragile at the best of times, has shattered. They are not fighting soldiers. They are fighting a nightmare. I see a heavy weapons team trying to turn an autocannon. They are fumbling with the controls, their hands shaking. They are screaming at each other. Trooper 42 Alpha is on them. He has lost his laser gun. He is using his entrenching tool. He swings the shovel with a mechanic's precision. Crack! It strikes the gunner's helmet. Crack! It strikes again. The shovel is sharpened. It shears through the flak armor. The gunner falls. The loader tries to run. 42 Alpha tackles him. They roll in the acid mud. 42 Alpha is dying. I can see the steam rising from his back where the coat has dissolved, but he holds the traitor down. He drives the shovel edge into the man's neck. He does not stop until the traitor stops moving. Then, 42 Alpha stops too. He slumps over his kill. He does not get up. Asset expended. I move forward. My vision is tunneling. The gray shadows are turning black. My heart rate is erratic. Thump, 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 thump. It is struggling to push the sludge that used to be my blood. I check my chronometer. The face is cracked, but I can see the hands. H-hour plus 12 minutes. We have secured the first line. But the objective is the second line, the support trench. 50 meters further. I look for my squad. 3 men standing, 7 down. Trooper 99 Zeta is still on his feet. He is leaning against the trench wall, holding his guts in with one hand. His laser gun is in the other. He looks at me. He nods. There is no hesitation, no question of holding the ground we have taken. We are not conquerors. We are ammunition. We must be spent. I wave my hand forward. We climb out of the trench, back into the open, back into the fire. The enemy artillery has stopped. They are afraid of hitting their own men. But the small arms fire is intense. Las bolts snap around us. Autogun rounds thud into the mud. I am hit. A round takes me in the shoulder. It spins me around. I fall. The mud is warm. It feels comfortable. It would be easy to stay here, to let the earth reclaim the biomass. In life, war. In death, peace. Peace is so close, but I am not dead. Not yet. I can still pull the trigger. I force myself up. My arm, my good arm, shakes. I use the laser gun as a crutch. I stand. I see the second trench line. I see the pale, terrified faces of the heretics peering over the parapet. They are firing at us, but they are not aiming. They are just pulling triggers, desperate to make the monsters go away. They do not understand. You cannot kill what is already dead. I start to run. It is not a run. It is a lurching, shambling stumble. My legs are liquefying. My lungs are gone. I am running on pure, distilled hate. I hear a roar. It is not the enemy. It is 99 Zeta. He has ripped off his burning coat. He is charging shirtless into the acid fog. His skin is blistering, peeling away in sheets. He looks like a flayed saint. He throws his last frag grenade. Boom. Dirt and bodies fly into the air. A gap opens in the wire. We hit the second line. I drop into the trench. I land on top of a traitor. He smells of fear and unwashed sweat. He claws at my face. His fingers dig into the raw meat of my cheek. I do not feel it. I headbutt him. My helmet strikes his nose. Bone crunches. I jam the barrel of my laser gun under his chin. Flash. He goes limp. I try to stand. I cannot. My legs are gone. The nerves have finally burned out. I slide down the trench wall. I am sitting in the mud. The fog is clearing slightly. I can see the sky. It is the color of a bruise. I look down the trench. It is quiet. The firing has stopped. I see bodies, traitor bodies, Krieg bodies, piled together in the slush. There is no one standing. The 158th has taken the objective. I reach for my Vox bead. My hand is a claw. It takes me 3 tries to find the transmit switch. Command. I wheeze. The sound is a wet gurgle. Objective. Alpha Mortis. Secured. There is no answer. Just the hiss of static. It doesn't matter. The report is logged. The debt is paid. I look at my laser gun. The power pack is empty. The barrel is warped from heat. It served well. I close my eyes. The pain is fading. The noise is fading. I can hear the silence. It is beautiful. In death, atonement.
The recording ends there. The battery died, or the Watchmaster did. In the official annals of the Siege of Vraks, the assault on Sector 50-45 is recorded as a tactical failure. The data slates of the Departamento Monitorum note that the 158th Siege Regiment suffered a breakdown in discipline. They cite the unauthorized retreat of the first wave. They cite the regrettable loss of the attached commissariat personnel. They note that the survivors of the engagement, those few who did not dissolve in the mud, or die on the wire were stripped of their rank and remanded to the penal legions. They do not mention the gas. They do not mention the TP-3 agent that melted the faces of loyal soldiers. And they certainly do not mention the moment when dead men stood up and charged. Why was this record lost? Why was this act of supreme, terrifying defiance buried in a sub-archive for 2 centuries? Because it is inconvenient. The narrative of the Death Korps of Krieg is one of mindless, obedient sacrifice. To acknowledge that the 158th broke, that they felt fear, that they faltered, would be to admit a flaw in their conditioning. But to acknowledge what happened next would be even more dangerous. It would be to admit that the Imperial Guard won that trench not through the holy orders of the Commissariat, nor the strategic genius of the General Staff, but through the sheer, spiteful refusal of the common soldier to lay down and die. The 158th took the Alpha Mortis trench line. The Watchmaster was correct. The objective was secured, but it didn't matter. The second wave, delayed by the confusion and the gas, arrived too late to exploit the breach. The traitor forces counterattacked within the hour. The ground that 778-45 and his squad bought with their melting flesh was lost before their bodies were even cold. 14 million dead. The Siege of Vraks continued for another 12 years. The sacrifice of the 158th changed nothing on the strategic map. It moved no lines. It saved no worlds. By the cold calculus of the Imperium, it was a waste of resources. But here in the dark, we remember. We remember that when the equipment failed, when the leadership failed, and when the biology of the human form failed, the spirit did not. We remember that when they were reduced to meat and bone, dissolving in a green hell, they found a reason to stand up, not for the Emperor who sat distant on his golden throne, not for the Commissar whom they had left behind in the mud, but for the simple, brutal fact that they were Krieg, and that they were not done killing the enemy. The galaxy is vast, dark, and eternal. The human soul is small, fragile, and temporary. But as the ghosts of the 158th proved in the smog of Vraks, it refuses to break. Even when the lungs are gone, it still finds a way to scream. My report is concluded. The full dossier will be sealed under penalty of heresy. You may append your own approved commentary to the record below. The Ordo Chronos is ever watchful.